Hey everyone, it's Tommy from the Goalie Crease Network, and today we are doing a review of the WaLL W-8 mask. Now, if you remember back a long time ago, I actually did a review of the WaLL Pro Active mask, which is now called the W2, and that one was made of an ABS plastic and rubber composite. So it worked out really well, and it really deflected the pucks back off. And this one is kind of the complete opposite. So this one is very traditional styling. It tends to have traditional materials inside of it that makes it extremely stiff. So what I want to do is tell you a little bit about the technologies and then tell you a little bit about the performance. So let's get started. Now obviously in comparison to that W2, this one has a much different style to it. The W2 is a little bit larger in the forehead and especially in the chin area, and this one actually is much more traditional. So you can absolutely tell which mask it is based off of as far as the mold goes, but there are some differences as well. For one thing is the vent holes on the top and on the sides. Instead of a round vent hole, these are much more triangular, and that can be good and bad in some areas. There's also a reduction in the amount of vent holes up here, and again, that can be good and bad. So here's why. I think it's actually good in through the ear area right here. I was able to hear much better in this mask compared to the much more traditional styling mask. At the same time, however, you're taking away a lot of area here for paint. So if you like a very complex design, you might have a little bit of an issue here and through this area. Now, in comparison, up here on the top, where the more traditional mold has more vent holes up here, this one is actually much more flat, and so you're going to have much more area for that really detailed paint. So that's really good. Now, the bad part about the no vent holes up here, really, as far as sweat goes, I don't think it really matters, but I think it matters in terms of goalie cams. And that's, of course, very important to me. Because obviously I'm wearing a mask cam or different sorts of cameras, and that way you guys are able to see my games. And I'm actually unable to put a mask cam up here because it doesn't have those additional portholes right here. So I think from a painting standpoint it's very good, but if you are a goalie who wears a mask cam, you're going to have to figure out a different way to put your cam on there. Now going back to the material discussion a little bit, like I said before, that W2 had a very different construction than you're used to. This one, however, has a polycarbonate blend, and it's very layered, so you end up with fiberglass, Kevlar, and carbon fiber in throughout this mask. So it works out really well, and actually I think it's a little bit lighter than your traditional mask that this one is based off of, obviously. It's a little bit lighter, and so you're able to turn your head and maneuver it a little bit easier. And from a protection standpoint, you know, if we're going to do the stiffness test, it is extremely stiff. So if I try to push in, I can maybe push in 1/4 of an inch, and that's really about it. So that tends to be extremely protective. Now the back plate, it's a little bit of a larger back plate, and this one is actually a demo back plate. So this one's not the one you're going to see on your retail model, but nonetheless this is going to be somewhat similar and probably very similar in material, and this works out really well and provides a large painting area. Now just to clarify, there are a few differences in this mask and the one you're likely to receive at the retail level, unless you order directly from WaLL, and you can actually get some changes made to them. And that's really good. And let me go through some of those changes really quick. I actually replaced the chin cup with this chin sling, and then this foam right here, this is a Rubitex foam, and that one is actually going to be a different foam that is a little bit more comfortable, but I'm just used to this foam, so I had them replace that. Now, at the same time, if you do order this mask from WaLL, you can actually take a picture of your face and your head, and then they can actually change the foam to make sure that it's going to conform to your head with very minimal alterations. So I think that's really cool if you do order direct from WaLL. And at the same time, you can get several different colors in terms of the mask itself and in the cage, which is a fantastic cage. I'll go through that in a second. And at the same time, if you want a design on the mask, they can do that straight from the manufacturer as well. Now as far as the cage goes, it's really interesting because it's a single bar cat eye, and that actually reduces the amount of bar you're looking through right in front of your face. Now as far as performance goes in this mask, you're actually sitting a little bit further away from those bars, so you're a little bit back further. I would say I'm used to about a finger width, and this one's about 2 finger widths, so probably about that away from the bar for my nose. So usually you would see a little bit more of that bar, but because it is a single bar, you don't see it as much. Now, this cage is actually made of stainless spring steel, so what that actually does is it is a very strong steel, and it bounces that puck right off. So I actually took a puck off of the cage right here, and you can actually see that there is zero indentation at all, and it is perfectly fine. So I've actually taken a couple pucks off the mask and at least one off of the cage without any problems whatsoever. No reason for repair. I didn't have any ringing, and that's one thing when I was talking with WaLL, they said, well, you probably will get some ringing because this is a very stiff mask, and it's not made like that W-2, which is really going to bounce that puck off. This is much different because it is so stiff. Now, like I said before, this is the W-8, and they do have a W-10, which is probably considered their pro model, and this one is considered their senior pro model. So if you are comparing it to other senior pro masks, this is absolutely fantastic, not only in terms of protection, but also in terms of fit and comfort. And then if you order straight from the manufacturer, you can get a very customizable fit, which I think is really cool, and you don't normally see that at a retail model. So that's pretty cool. So I really appreciate WaLL for letting me try their mask. It is an absolutely fantastic mask, and the next time you see this, this is going to be painted up, and you'll start seeing it in some of my personal videos as well. So what I'll do is I'll put the WaLL website down in the description, as well as some contact information for WaLL, and that way you can check out their mask, and sometimes they're running some pretty cool deals. So definitely check it out, and we'll see you out on the ice. Good luck.